The following is a fan-made project. All My Little Pony programs, comic books, and related merchandise are owned by Hasbro Incorporated and its affiliates. Please support the official release.
With fire, ruby, and interspecies romance will save Rarity soon. Fighting the nightmare forces, and don't ask how they can breathe on the moon.
だからハイハイハイ幸せがきっとハイハイハイ歌い出す輝いてるこの季節に胸が踊るの
Awesome-tastic. Hello, I'm Thunderflare Brony Analysis Extraordinaire, and it's time for me to cover the Nightmare Rarity arc. This arc goes from the 50th issue of the comic to the 8th, and it is, in my mind, the best arc of the entire run so far. It does do a better job filling in the blanks for anyone who didn't happen to watch the show than the previous arc did. But in the interest of making sure everyone's on the same page, I'll still go over the important information from the show. And as before, this will be completely spoiler-free. I will not give away the ending or any of the big twists. So, well, let's get started. Way back in the day, Celestia and Luna ruled Equestria together. Unfortunately, the ponies frolicked and played in Celestia's day, but shunned and slept through Luna's beautiful night. This eventually led to Luna becoming the Wicked Mare of Darkness, Nightmare Moon, and trying to blast Celestia with a Dial-X laser.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
Having no other choice, Celestia sealed her permanently with
Let's see how he likes a Kamehameha!
Cut to 1,000 years later, and the seal is about to break. Because the warranty just ran out, I guess. Fortunately, Twilight is on the case, getting her friends together to find the elements of harmony which they use to purify Luna. And this is where things get confusing. Why didn't they do that in the first place? How does this purification work? I thought Luna became Nightmare Moon because he wasn't getting proper attention. That doesn't seem to have changed. Fortunately, the comics help fill in the blanks for all these questions. The comic begins with Twilight Sparkle being chased by what looks like the smoke monster from Lost. Apparently, this is a nightmare she's been having every night this week. So that morning, she goes into town to try to find a remedy for this, and when she does, she runs into her friends and finds out they've been having the same problem. So Pinkie Pie proposes a plan. Having a slumber party.
You are made of stupid.
Despite that brilliant plan, the nightmares get even worse. Each of the main six has to face their worst fear throughout their dreams. Twilight is rejected by Princess Celestia, Applejack is unable to grow enough food to feed her family, animals flee at the sight of Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash gets her wings clipped, Pinkie Pie fails to make any pony laugh, but none take it as hard as Rarity, who has her kind and generous gifts rejected. This causes her to break into a cold sweat and allows the smoke monster to show up in the real world. Somehow? Well, that's not particularly important. What is important is that the smoke monster filly naps Rarity, and not even Rainbow Dash can stop it. Considering Dash can fly at Mach 10, that's really saying something. After that rescue attempt fails, the remaining of the main six realize that Smoke Monster is the common denominator of their dreams. Since, as was established in Sleepless in Ponyville, Luna is a dream walker, they need to ask her for advice.
Continuity!
But it turns out they don't have to get a message to Luna because she and Celestia are already at the library. Question? What was keeping the two of you from showing up like 15 minutes earlier?
Robot. I'm also a robot.
I'm a better robot than you.
You don't even know which robot you are yet.
I'm probably the one that's the best one.
Which one's the best one? What's it look like? What's it look like?
It's got blue in it. Yeah, I'm that one.
You're that one?
You're the orange one.
Cool. I get to be the tall robot.
Ah.
Well, back with the exposition dump, Luna reveals that she became Nightmare Moon when she allowed herself to host the Nightmare Forces. Apparently they promised to give her the praise she so craved, playing off her weaknesses to get what they wanted. Which turned out to be... yeah, it wasn't a very symbiotic relationship. As you probably figured out, the Smoke Monster is actually the Nightmare Forces, which have taken Rarity to the Nightmare Dreamscape on the moon in an attempt to turn her into their new host, Nightmare Rarity. And yes, it is exactly as awesome as it sounds. Luna wants to go after Rarity alone, but the rest of the main six won't let her. Celestia opts to stay behind just in case Nightmare Rarity invades, and that just leaves how they're going to get to the moon as a problem. Warning, this is quite possibly the most awesome thing you will ever see. They lasso the moon. I swear I did not make that up. They lasso the freaking moon and pull it towards the Earth. It didn't take them as long as I thought it would, but they finally managed to top the Giant Newton Tetris Horde! I didn't even think that was possible. Well, I'm gonna stop talking about the plot right here because, well, for one, I'm getting close to spoiler territory, and how can I top lassoing the freaking moon? So, let's talk about the character focus. The comic focuses a great deal on Luna's character. How she became Nightmare Moon, why she became Nightmare Moon, why she doesn't want to go back there. It really deals heavily with her guilt about her previous actions. Also, the encouragement that Luna gets at the end is really good. I'm not going to show any of it to you because it's also rife with spoilers. Rarity is in an interesting position, being both a damsel in distress and antagonist at the same time. She puts up a lot of resistance to hosting the Nightmare Forces, but as they have thousands of years worth of experience, they know exactly which buttons to push to get her on their side. And once she gets one foot in, they take her over. Nightmare Rarity, on the other hand, is an awesome villain, strutting about like a complete boss. She also, despite having the ability to overpower most of the characters, plays clever mind games trying to break their spirit. Spike really shines in this comic. He has to deal with some really hard issues. I mean, think about it. He pretty much has to deal with the fact that Rarity is gone. The pony he loves is no longer around. Or, to be more blunt, dead. Now, I am no Rarity shipper. Yeah, that's seriously what they're calling it. But I really felt for Spike in this. I actually want this pairing to be resolved one way or the other, just for the sake of giving Spike some closure. I think he deserves that. The rest of the main six and Celestia do get their moments, but they're not explored in depth the way Rarity, Spike, and Luna are. Now for the artwork. Amy Memberson provides us with some really impressive art. I especially like the designs for the inhabitants of the moon. She also does a much better job at drawing the ponies than Andy Price did in the last arc. The only criticism I can levy at this comic, and you can count it as a strike against the comics as a whole, is the almost amateurish presentation. What do I mean? Well, take this page for example. If the comic were published by Marvel or DC, the panel with the Sonic Rainbow would be a full page or even two-page spread. This would better show the strain on Rainbow Dash's face and be more eye-catching. The panel with her reaching for Rarity would also be several smaller panels showing her getting closer and closer to give her failure to save Rarity more weight. But I'm just nitpicking now. The first arc of the comics pretty much represents the show at its average. This arc represents the show at its absolute best. Excellent storytelling, excellent characterization, catching artwork. I can recommend this to anyone, or any pony as it were. It is easily the best arc of the comics. You should read it right now. Now!
Now!
Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. See you next time.
What kind of dream can be a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare? Either way, I don't wanna wake up like a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare. Somebody pinch me. Your love's too good to let go. My guilty pleasure, I ain't going nowhere. Baby, long as you're here, I'll be floating on air. 'Cause you're my sweet dream.
Did you really expect me to sit idly by while they all basked in your precious light?
Precious light?
There can only be one princess in Equestria!
So basically what you're saying is,
There can be only one.